My name is Rafael, you watch Rock and Roll Garage, and today I'm going to tell you which are the football teams that the Beatles members supported and which other sports they like. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, let's start with Paul McCartney. And it's interesting because Paul revealed in an interview with Wired in 2018 that he originally supports Everton, which is a team from Liverpool, but he started to support Liverpool as well, Liverpool FC. They are the two biggest clubs in Liverpool. They're rivals, and that's unthinkable for fans of each of the teams. You know, you can't support the two teams, but according to Paul, he can. And this is what he said to Wired. He said it was a long story, and he said, "My dad was born in Everton, which is the other Liverpool team. So officially I'm an Everton fan because that's our family team. But I knew the players and the managers of Liverpool years ago, and they did so great. They were big fans of mine. So I'm a Liverpool and Everton fan. I know it's not strictly allowed, but I got special dispensation from the Pope." So that's what Paul said about the two teams. And talking about the two clubs, Liverpool is much bigger than Everton in terms of titles. For example, Everton was founded in Liverpool in 1878, and they won 9 league titles and several cups. However, their most recent title was the FA Cup in the season 1994-1995. So they're without big titles. You know, they're not champions of big competitions for almost 30 years. Liverpool, on the other hand, is much bigger. It's one of the biggest clubs in not only England but in Europe, in the world. They were founded in 1892, and they are the most successful English team on the Champions League, which is the most important European championship. They won the cup, the Champions League, 6 times, and they're also the second most successful teams in terms of league titles, domestic league titles, which is the Premier League. They won 19 times, and they're just behind Manchester United, which is the team that won 20 times. And let's move on to Ringo Starr. Now, Ringo, it's not nobody knows for sure if he really supports Arsenal, which is a club from London, although he was born in Liverpool as well. But reportedly, that's the football team he supports, Arsenal. And because of his, especially, it is reportedly because of his stepfather, who was named Harry Graves, and he was born in London. And Ringo's father left his family when he was only 3 years old. So, and later on, his mother met Harry, who became his stepfather. And Ringo said many times that he considers Harry his real father because they loved each other and they supported each other, as I'm going to tell you right now. And there's a really interesting statement he gave to Masterclass in a few years ago, talking about his stepdad. And he said that unlike many fathers, his stepdad didn't used to tell him, "Hey, turn this down," when he was listening to music or he was playing the drums. He only used to come to Ringo and say, "Hey, have you listened to this? Take a look at this song or this album." So he was always supporting him. But now let's talk about Arsenal first a little bit. Arsenal was formed in London in 1886 and is one of the most famous British teams. And they won 13 Premier League titles and the FA Cup 14 times. However, they never won the Champions League, which is the most important most important championship in Europe. But there's an interesting thing about Ringo. Ringo likes American football, or if we can say NFL football, because in the United States, people called the American football, and the football we're talking about in England and all over the world as soccer. So he actually supports an American football team. And he told this in an interview with Jimmy Kimmel in 2022. And he said, he posted a picture of him, Joe Walsh, and their wives, which, Joe's Walsh wife and Ringo Starr's wife, they are sisters. So they're brothers-in-law. And he posted a picture a few years ago of all of them wearing the shirts of the LA, of the Rams, which is an LA football team, American football team. And Jimmy Kimmel asked him if he supported the Rams, but he said, well, in LA, I support them. And he then said this. He said, it came to a point with the Dodgers and the Rams, you had to pick one. I'm from Liverpool, where you have Liverpool and Everton. The city is divided for one team or the other. So my big American football team is Dallas. In the mid-70s, I came to LA. I was staying a while and went over to some guy's house, and Dallas was playing. So I picked a team. I rooted for the Cowboys, and my next team was the Steelers. I actually was so involved with Dallas that the team and the girls, that I went to Dallas to buy a house. We flew there, my friend and I. We looked at houses, went shopping, bought a pair of boots, and we got back on the plane. So that's what he said about his passion for American football. So he supports a lot of teams in the United States. Now, the other two, George and John, were not fans of football. And let's talk about George first, because George was crazy about Formula One. He loved to see races, especially Formula One. And from the 70s until the early 2000s, shortly before his death and before he got sick, he would travel around the world to see the Grand Prix and all the races. He went to every country you think about that where Formula One happens or used to happen. And he was allowed backstage, obviously, so he became a very good friend of many drivers, like, for example, Jack Stewart, who is a legendary British driver, Emerson Fittipaldi, who is legendary and also world champion, like Jack Stewart. Emerson's from Brazil, and there's a really nice video of a Brazilian TV show where they're paying tribute to Emerson, and they asked George to make a special tribute to him, and George decided to adapt the Here Comes the Sun, the Beatles hit, with stuff about Emerson, and he made a new version of the song. It's brilliant. If you want to see, take a look at YouTube here, search here, George Harrison, Emerson Fittipaldi, and you're gonna see that video. It's beautiful. And other interesting stuff about George's love for Formula One. He was a guest commentator for Eurosport channel in 1994 at the Australian Grand Prix at Adelaide. He was the commentator. And in an interview with Montreal TV in 2000 that we also saw, he was asked if he wanted to be if he ever dreamed about becoming a driver in the Formula One, and he said that no, but he just loved it was a hobby for him. He said it was like a soap opera, and he liked it to see how it developed and everything. And the interesting thing is that he drove a few cars in races, but obviously it was not an official race. He was just having fun with friends at the time and other drivers. So, it's a really interesting thing, George's love for Formula One. In the final one, John Lennon, according to the Beatles historian Ray O'Brien, as he told North Wales Live a few years ago, he said that actually John was not a fan of any sports. His father was a fan of Liverpool FC, the team, the football team, but as you probably know if you're a Beatles fan, John's father left the family when he was a young kid, and they would only meet after John got famous and etc. But there's some interesting stuff about John and sports, because although he wasn't a big fan of football, there's some stuff. For example, he mentioned is a very famous and important player, Matt Busby, in the lyrics of the Beatles song Dig It, which was released on their 1970 album Let It Be, the final one released, and also on the cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. As you know, there's a huge amount of people there, important people. The only football player in it is the player Albert Stubbings, who was also a famous Liverpool player. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. If you want to read more, you can go to the description, read the article wrote about that. There's so much more to see there. And if you want to know more, please go to rockandrollgarage.com. Don't forget to like the video, leave your comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I see you later.